Good afternoon and welcome to Adbn News at 2. I am Cynthia Okosa. President Bola Tinubu says his administration remains committed to defeating banditry and kidnapping, insisting that the federal government will not negotiate with criminals or pay ransom. The president stated this while receiving a delegation of Oyo State traditional rulers led by the Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Rashidi Ladoja in Abuja. He said the abductors of the school children and teachers from Orire, Oyo State, demanded both ransom and the release of jailed gang members, but the demands were rejected.
These criminals wanted us to release from detention members of their criminal gangs that were already arrested. That was one of their conditions, outside of the money they're looking for. And we said, no deal. We are not going to negotiate with criminals. They committed murder, and we were ready to finish with their families and members of their own communities. So they go somewhere.
On the expansion of the army from 8 to 12 divisions, the president said the move was a direct operational response to the security crisis, designed to improve response time and give security forces the manpower and reach needed to combat terrorism and banditry.
To shorten the response time, to give, that response time the teeth that is needed for us to defeat terrorism and banditry. It is very necessary, and we are doing so.
Speaking on behalf of the delegation, the Olubadan of Ibadan land and chairman of the Oyo State Council of Obas and Chiefs, Oba Rashidi Ladoja, said the visit was to thank President Tinubu and the armed forces for their efforts in securing the release of the Orire kidnapped victims.
Not the problem of the kidnapping, which was about the first major one in Oyo State. We are apprehensive. What is the government doing? What is the federal government doing? What is the rest of the government doing? But you now find that to you and your security people, I'm going to tell them, to we have made a turning point in the issue of kidnapping in Nigeria.
Still on security, the federal government, through the Office of the National Security Advisor, has destroyed 2,819 illicit and decommissioned small arms and light weapons, bringing the total number of illegal weapons permanently removed from circulation to nearly 19,000. National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu disclosed this in Abuja during the destruction exercise conducted by the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, represented by the administrator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, Dr. Dennis Otuaro. Ribadu said the proliferation of illegal arms continues to fuel terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, communal clashes, and other violent crimes. He stressed that every recovered and destroyed weapon represents a threat eliminated, while transparent destruction prevents seized arms from returning to circulation.
Every weapon recovered by our gallant armed forces, police, and other security services, and every weapon that eventually finds its way into an exercise such as this represents a threat permanently neutralized. It is worth emphasizing that recovery alone is not enough. Weapons that are seized but poorly tracked, stored, or accounted for carry the risk of re-entering circulation.
Director General of the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, more than 21,000 illicitly acquired, obsolete and unserviceable weapons have been recovered since the center was created, with over 16,000 destroyed before Thursday's exercise.
The center has recovered over 21,000 illicitly acquired, obsolete, decommissioned, and unserviceable weapons, and has destroyed over 16,000 weapons since its establishment. With today's exercise, that cumulative figure rises to about 19,000 weapons permanently taken out of circulation. This is a milestone we should all take pride in, and one that reflects years of sustained, disciplined interagency work. It is important that we situate today's exercise within the wider context of the federal government strategy for tackling the insecurity that has for too long bedeviled our country.
The destruction exercise is part of the federal government's broader security strategy, which combines military operations, intelligence gathering, community engagement, strengthened border security, and sustained efforts to curb the proliferation of illegal arms across the country. The FCT Police Command says it is intensifying operations against vandalism and the illegal use of official and diplomatic number plates in the nation's capital. The command says 5 suspects have been arrested, while vandalized public infrastructure and unauthorized number plates have also been recovered. Fumilola Adeyemi reports.
Vandalism of public infrastructure remains a security and safety concern in the FCT, with criminals targeting items such as the FCT Commissioner of Police, Ahmed Senusi, said proactive patrol and intelligence from members of the public led to the recovery of these items across Maitama, Garikin, Durumi, Jabi, Apo Legislative, Lugbe, and Nyanya. 5 suspects were arrested in connection with the recoveries, while the police says the exhibit will be handed over to the FCT administration for reinstallation.
I want to use this opportunity to send a clear warning to all purchasers, receivers, and dealers installing public infrastructure that the FCT Police Command is coming after them. We have commenced extensive investigations and will not relent until every link in the supply, distribution, and disposal chain of these stolen public assets is identified and brought to justice.
The command also uncovered a net involved in the production and supply of unauthorized official and diplomatic number plates.
Our investigation uncovered not only the unauthorized users of these license plate numbers, but also the production and supply chain they were obtained. Before you are the license plate numbers and diplomatic license plate numbers confiscated across various areas of the FCT. The suspects from whom these plate numbers were recovered are currently in custody and will be charged to court upon the conclusion of the investigation. However, a few such vehicles are displayed over there for your observation.
Behind me are some of the recovered stolen items, including solar street lights, manhole covers, armored cables, among others. The FCT Police Command said it will not relent in its effort to rid the nation's capital of criminal elements and ensure the safety of residents. From the nation's capital, Fumilola Adeyemi, Adbn News.
In other reports, Oyo State Police Command has dismantled a syndicate allegedly involved in the diversion and unlawful conversion of goods in transit, arresting 2 suspects and recovering goods valued at 32 million. The operation carried out by operatives of the Command Monitoring Unit, Oyo Operational Base, followed credible intelligence that led officers to the syndicate's hideout in the Irekbo area of Oyo Town.
Reloaded him and now say, okay, if that being the case, let them snap the two of them. Then snap them with the truck. After they snap them with the truck, they get their photocopy, their way bill, and their driving license. And the name he is giving me, Abraham, something Oni, somebody, is not the name he's measuring here, ma.
The operation conducted in the Irekbo area of Oyo Town led to the arrest of two suspects identified as Olawale Karim, male, 40 years, and Ogumbiyi Monday, male, 46 years. Edo State Task Force has arrested two suspected illegal revenue collectors at the Uwelu Spare Parts Market in Ego local government area following complaints from traders and customers over alleged extortion. The suspects were accused of issuing unauthorized tickets and demanding payments from people carrying out legitimate business activities despite the state government's ban on illegal revenue collection. Speaking after the operation, station officer of the Edo State Task Force said the arrests were made in response to credible reports from the market.
The Edo State Task Force commander will always say, if you see something, say something. So I believe on that principle, so many persons have started to believe in him, that whenever they see any information, no matter how thin or little it is, they will bring it to his attention. The ban on ticketing by the Edo State government remain intact. And the Edo State Task Force will go all the way to enforce this ban. So if there's anybody still out there engaging in illegal collection of revenue out there, Edo State Task Force will come for you.
The suspects claimed they were acting on the instructions of their employer, Kingsley Kiwing. They also alleged that they were informed that the revenue collection had the approval of the local government council.
They deported me from Mikling. I'm less job, so I have nothing doing. I was fishing for work to do. Before I met this man, he told me that there's a work at the ticket work at the package that the council give us. Every day I always complain to this my boss, say, bro, are you sure this work is genuine? Because I don't need any problem. He says it's genuine.
I asked my boss convinced me, we all convinced that it's legal. Kingsley him. Kingsley him. We pay to him.
Edo State Task Force said investigations are ongoing to uncover everyone connected to the alleged illegal operation as it intensifies efforts to eliminate unauthorized revenue collection and safeguard lawful commercial activities across the state. Candidates from 14 political parties contesting the August 15, 2026 Osun State governorship election have officially signed a peace accord on Thursday, July 30th, 2026, pledging to uphold a violent, free, and credible electoral process. The event, organized by the National Peace Committee, was held in Osogbo, the Oyo State capital. Speaking at the event, Chairman of the National Peace Committee and former Head of State, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, retired, represented by Cardinal John Onaikan, said democracy flourishes when political competition is guided by peace, restraint, and respect, for urging political actors to conduct the remainder of their campaigns with civility and responsibility.
The National Peace Committee, I am making my special appeal to all the political party members here present to abide by the spirit and the letter of the accord that we will now sign.
Delivering his address, Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Joash Amupitan, called on all political parties, candidates, and supporters to strictly adhere to the letter and spirit of the agreement. He warned that anyone attempting to disrupt the August 15 governorship election or engage in vote buying would face the full weight of the law.
These hotspots location will receive specialized, highly visible security deployments. Security forces have been issued strict operational guidelines to neutralize any form of violence and attempt at ballot destructions.
Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 11 Headquarters, Oshogbo Akinyele Fasuba, who represented the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, assured of security of lives and properties during and after the poll.
All the people that will be involved will be the one recognized by the Constitution. People should not entertain any fear that maybe all these Amotekun, Vigilante, and all others will be used.
In his remarks, Governor Ademola Adeleke restated his commitment to a fair and free election.
Our gathering is to endorse peace, but my government and people are facing police sanction, violence, intimidation. War is being waged actively against my people by Osun APC, openly supported by the Osun State Police Command.
The August 15 election is scheduled to hold across the state's 30 local government areas and the Modakeke area office, covering 332 registration areas and 3,763 polling units, with the certified register contained 2,339,233 eligible voters after the automated biometric identification system exercise. The Kabiru Turaki-led Interim National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, says it has manually submitted former President Goodluck Jonathan's presidential nomination and the names of its candidates for the 2027 general elections to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The faction said it opted for manual submission after INEC declined to provide access codes for electronic submission, maintaining that the codes are only an administrative requirement and not a legal condition under the Electoral Act. It added that the submission, which includes governorship, National Assembly, and State Assembly candidates, was acknowledged by the Commission. Speaking to journalists, the committee's National Publicity Secretary, Comrade Ini Ememobong, insisted the nominations were validly made in line with the Electoral Act. He warned INEC against publishing any list other than the one submitted by the Turaki-led committee, saying the party would pursue legal action if a different list. Stay with us. You're welcome back. Journalists have been tasked to uphold ethical standards and professionalism in carrying out their duties to sustain public trust and contribute to national development. The call was made at a leadership retreat of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Akwa Ibom State Council, involving media landscape. Our correspondent, Emmanuel Silas, reports.
The call for professionalism dominated discussions as journalists from across Akwa Ibom State gathered for the leadership retreat organized by the Nigeria Union of Journalists, Akwa Ibom State Council. NUJ chairman in the state, Comrade Nsibiet John, said the retreat was designed to equip media practitioners with leadership and professional skills.
We'll continue to ensure that we do not joke with the welfare of our members. And of course, that's a primary responsibility of the union and of union leaders. So far, we will not stop promoting the professionalism of this union. That's why we try as much as we can to sanitize.
Chairman of the occasion, Barrister Onofiok Luke, noted that journalists must continually uphold the ethics and integrity of the profession.
And without capacity building, conscious effort and capacity building, you will not be able to respond to such tasks when you are flying on that side. Just like we are pursuing our different career in our different fields of studies, devoting our time, energy, and resources.
The Akwa Ibom State Commissioner for Information, Honorable Enie Kanumana, urged journalists to remain committed to development-oriented reporting.
The union has continued to contribute, even as the government has continued to offer demonstrate appreciation and support to the union in various ways. Where we are sitting here today is one of the seals of that relationship.
The chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Sonny James, alongside Chairman, Nigeria Institute of Public Relations, Dr. Manasseh Omoite, said a knowledgeable, ethical, and professional media is vital to good governance.
In Akwa Ibom State, we have what we call the NRC Grant Scheme. It's a national program, and we have our people trained from West Africa.
So upcoming journalists is that they need to prepare, because as a journalist, they are leaders in their own rights. As a matter of fact, you must be able to judge what you put forward.
Participants described the retreat as enriching, saying it provided
you must have some certain characteristics that you use to help you in your daily movements. As here we had different speakers, most especially for me as an information officer, I learned a lot.
Every one of us have had experiences at the different levels of Ghana, and so this reinforces the strength in the working relationship, and also bringing the government angle also into the leadership.
The retreat ended with participants reaffirming their commitment in the service of the society. Emmanuel Silas, Adbn News.
Drivers have been urged to adopt to save lives. The call was made during a road safety awareness campaign organized by the Federal Road Safety Corps, FCT Sector Command, in collaboration with the Junior Chamber International, JCI. The campaign featured a road walk from the FRSC headquarters through Beggar Roundabout to Area 3 Motor Park, where officials educated motorists on safe driving practices and conducted free eye screening for drivers. The FCT Sector Commander, Tijani Iliasu, represented by Linda Onwuka, outlined key safety measures drivers should observe to reduce road crashes and ensure safer roads.
Always know that safety first, safety always, and there's no other life. Our children, our parents, our friends are there waiting for us. So we should be conscious when driving. So we should remember that there is no tomorrow. It's just a day. So the driver should be conscious when driving.
The medical director of Life Springs, who coordinated the free eye screening, stressed the importance of regular eye checks, noting that good vision is essential for safe driving and accident prevention.
Skills that a defensive driver has to cultivate. Some skills, starting from the awareness stage, you are embarking on a journey. A journey is like leaving your house to your office or to your workplace or to your business place, wherever it is that you are moving to. From moving to point A to point B, you should be aware that I want to embark on this journey. How am I going to get there? How many minutes or hours will it take me? How do I go about it? Do I enter public transport or I am to drive? If I'm driving, what is the situation? What is the condition of my vehicle? You should be able to know that.
Deputy State Secretary of the FRSC Special Marshals, Nkeshita Philippa, and FCT President of the Junior Chamber International, Yoneng Sylvester, said the campaign was aimed at promoting responsible driving habits and reducing road traffic crashes through sustained public awareness. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria recorded 1,347 deaths from road traffic crashes in the first quarter of 2026. The newly appointed Registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, Prof. Segun Aina, has vowed to intensify the fight against examination malpractice, warning fraud syndicates, impersonators, certificate forgers, and other offenders that they will face the full weight of the law. Speaking during the handover ceremony at the JAM headquarters in Abuja today, Prof. Aina pledged to safeguard the integrity of Nigeria's tertiary admission process by deploying advanced technology, stronger administrative measures, and closer collaboration with security agencies to detect and prosecute offenders. He also promised to build a more transparent, technology-driven, and customer-focused examination body, stressing that integrity would remain the foundation of his administration and that every fraudulent admission deprives deserving candidates of opportunities. The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, has condemned the abduction of students of Gateway ICT Polytechnic, Shakpade, Ogun State, describing the incident as another troubling sign of rising insecurity around tertiary institutions. In a statement, NANS President Akintaye Babatunde called on the federal government, the Ogun State government, and security agencies to ensure the immediate rescue of the abducted students and strengthen security across campuses nationwide. The association said the incident came just days after an HND-2 student, Ahmed Shakinat, was killed during a robbery attack at DES Adbn ICT Polytechnic, Itori, leaving several others injured. NANS noted that the back-to-back attacks have heightened fear among students in Ogun State. The student body urged the Nigeria Police Force, the Department of State Service, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Nigerian Army, and other security agencies to deploy all available resources to secure the unconditional release of the abducted students. It also called for stronger measures to prevent future attacks on educational institutions. The federal government has unveiled plans to begin training doctors, nurses, and other specialized healthcare professionals exclusively for the Nigerian Army Forces, with the first batch of military medical cadets expected to be admitted in the 2026 academic session. Minister of Education Olatunji Alausa disclosed this on Friday in Abuja while inaugurating a technical working group to fast-track the establishment of the Armed Forces College of Medicine and Health Sciences. This was disclosed in a statement issued by the Minister's Special Advisor on Media and Communication, Ikaro Atta. Atta said the proposed institution is designed to end the armed forces' long-standing dependence on civil universities for the training of medical personnel by creating a dedicated pipeline of healthcare professionals equipped for military service. Describing the initiative as a strategic investment in national security development, Alausa said the establishment of the technical working group signaled the federal government's transition from policy approval to implementation. He said the armed forces deserved a healthcare workforce trained around the unique demands of military operations, noting that the new institution would focus on producing professionals equipped to support soldiers both on and off the battlefield. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, has threatened to embark on a nationwide indefinite strike from August 10, 2026, if the federal government fails to meet its outstanding demands. In a communique issued after its National Executive Council meeting in Gombe, the association said it was dissatisfied with the government's handling of unresolved welfare and professional issues, despite the disbursement of the 2026 Medical Residency Training Fund. NARD demanded the immediate payment of outstanding salary, promotion and allowance arrears, improved welfare for house officers, stronger protection against attacks on healthcare workers, and the conclusion of negotiations on the medical and health workers' collective bargaining agreement. It also urged the government to address excessive workloads and implement reforms in working conditions. All is set for the third edition of the Expatriates Business Awards, TEBA, Nigeria's premier platform, recognizing the contributions of expatriate businesses, foreign missions, and international partners to the country's economic growth and development. The awards ceremony will hold on August 20th, 2026, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja, with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, as chief host, while the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, will serve as host. Speaking ahead of the event, TEBA Director of Awards, Odunola Bayomi, said this year's edition will strengthen Nigeria's ties with the international business community by promoting economic diplomacy, celebrating excellence, and encouraging foreign investment. The event will also feature cultural exhibitions, opportunities, and entertainment. Bank customers filed more than 23,000 complaints against financial institutions in 2025, prompting the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to other refunds totaling over 19.1 billion naira and $329.3 million to affected consumers. According to the CBN's 2025 annual report, the Apex Bank received 23,129 complaints, an 11% increase from 2024, reflecting growing public confidence in its consumer protection and complaint resolution process. The report said 18,824 complaints were successfully resolved, leading to the refunds. It added that the CBN also imposed 1.69 billion naira in fines on financial institutions comply with its directives as part of efforts to strengthen consumer protection and accountability in the banking sector. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, has warned that electricity investors could face uncertainty if Nigeria's emerging state electricity. Speaking at a stakeholders' engagement in Abuja, the Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the FCCPC, Tunji Bello, called for closer collaboration between federal and state electricity regulators to ensure a harmonized consumer protection framework across the country. Bello said the Electricity Act 2023 has transformed Nigeria's electricity sector by allowing states to establish independent regulatory commissions. However, he stressed that the success of the reforms would depend on cooperation among regulators rather than competition, warning that fragmented regulation could weaken consumer protection and discourage investment. You are watching Adbn News at 2. Still ahead, stories from the foreign scene, sports, and entertainment. Stay with us. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, is intensifying efforts to achieve gender parity in political leadership by 2035, amid concerns that women remain significantly underrepresented in decision-making institutions across the region. At the West African Women's Political Leadership Forum in Abuja, regional leaders, development partners, and policy makers outlined a roadmap aimed at translating commitments into concrete reforms. Adbn's Amma Marcus reports.
Across West Africa, women remain underrepresented in political leadership, despite constituting nearly half of the region's population. While some countries have recorded gains in parliamentary representation and public appointments, progress remains uneven, prompting renewed calls for reforms that can translate commitments into measurable outcomes. That challenge is at the center of discussions at the West African Women's Political Leadership Forum in Abuja, convened by ECOWAS in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme and the African Women Leaders Network. The ECOWAS Vice President says advancing women's political leadership is not only a matter of correcting historical imbalances, but also a development imperative.
The International Monetary Fund estimates that closing the gender gap could increase economic output by 10 to 35%, depending on national circumstances. Behind those figures are real possibilities. The World Bank similarly estimates that countries lose approximately 14% of their human capital wealth when women are unable to fully participate in economic and public life.
For Nigeria, the forum comes amid renewed efforts to strengthen gender inclusion in governance, while women's representation in elective offices remains below the country's 35% affirmative action benchmark.
We're concluding the end-term review of our National Gender Policy 2021-2026, while laying the foundation of a third-generation national gender policy that responds to the emerging national realities. Central to this transition remains our unwavering commitment to the minimum 35% affirmative action benchmark for women's participation in governance and political party structures.
UNDP says it has invested $2 million in the Africa Facility for Women in Political Leadership.
Why we are supporting women in political transitions. This is necessary for rebuilding trust and democratic governance. And therefore, through the Africa Facility to support inclusive transitions, we have worked with over 200 civil society organizations with priority given to women-led civil society platforms in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. And some of them are represented here today.
With the expected adoption of the Abuja Regional Action Agenda, ECOWAS and its partners are seeking a roadmap that can turn regional commitments into concrete results, keeping the bloc on course towards the 2035 gender parity and stronger inclusive governance across West African region. Amma Marcus, Adbn News.
At least 34 miners have been killed following a methane gas explosion at a coal mine in Pakistan's southern province of Balochistan. The blast occurred near the provincial capital, with rescue workers continuing the search for more missing miners. Mining accidents are frequent in Pakistan, especially in Balochistan, a resource-rich but underdeveloped province that continues to face significant economic and infrastructure challenges. Thousands of migrants crossed overnight from Morocco into Spain's North African enclave of Ceuta, intensifying a border crisis for the Spanish government. Authorities said about 40,000 migrants have entered the territory in recent days, prompting Spain to deploy troops to reinforce security, while Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez visited the enclave to assess the situation. Police said at least 18 people have died attempting the dangerous crossing, with many migrants swimming around border barriers to reach Ceuta. The surge has also triggered diplomatic tensions in Europe, with France tightening border checks and Italy calling for Spain's suspension from the Schengen open border zone. FIFA has insisted that football is not being sold as it defended its controversial proposal to allow private investors to acquire minority stakes in its competitions. The response comes after UEFA voted on Thursday to boycott future World Cups should the proposal go ahead. Meanwhile, CONCACAF, whose member nations co-hosted this year's World Cup, said its 41 member associations had also rejected the plan put forward by FIFA President Gianni Infantino. Under FIFA's statutes, the proposal requires the support of 106 of its 211 member associations to be approved. UEFA and CONCACAF together account for 96 votes, leaving the outcome finely balanced. In a statement released on Friday, FIFA said the consultation process had been disrupted by what it described as inaccurate media reports. The governing body added that it would continue with the consultation process to ensure every member association has the opportunity to cast its vote based on the facts. Franco Baresi has died at the age of 66, with Milan saying their former captain's example and integrity will be forever etched into the club's DNA. Baresi spent his entire 20-year playing career with the club from 1977 until he retired in 1997, winning 6 Italian league titles and 3 European Cups and Championships leagues. Regarded as one of the greatest defenders to play the game, Baresi captained Milan for 15 seasons, making 719 appearances and scoring 33 goals. He was capped 81 times by Italy and was part of the squad which won the 1982 World Cup. He played in the 1994 final, which Italy lost to Brazil. In 2020, Baresi became honorary vice president of AC Milan, with the club retiring his number 6 shirt 4 years later. Minister of Women Affairs in Miss Nigeria, Tamunosoye, carried the judge to flag Nigeria's flag high at the Miss World pageant coming up in Vietnam on August 9th. The minister, who spoke while presenting Miss Nigeria formally to the media at a World Press Conference in Abuja, assured her of the ministry's support throughout the pageant. Adbn's correspondent Francisca Oga completes the story.
We are the Ministry of Women Affairs, where the Minister, Hajia Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, has just presented to the media the flag bearer for Nigeria at the Miss World contest coming up August 9th in Vietnam. Ms. Tamunosoye Karibi-White will be representing Nigeria. Her joy in partaking in the pageant is because she is equally going to be an inspiration to others, just like she was inspired by Adbn Daregu years ago.
Flying my country's flag high, showcasing our rich culture, our heritage, and how beautiful the people of Nigeria are. And it's truly an honor. It's more than a crown. It's watching or having a Nigerian girl look at me on that stage and say, one day this could be me. And that is exactly my story.
The minister, who was bursting with pride, said it is an honor for Nigeria to take the global stage along with 130 other countries.
Which will be held in Vietnam is a significant one, as it marks 75 years of Miss World. And at the finale, Miss Nigeria will stand as one of the 130 nationals represented. That is the scale of the stage we're stepping onto. It is truly a global gathering, and Nigeria will be proudly counted among the nations that are present.
We are hopeful that she would come home bearing the crown, but whether she does come home with the crown or not, it is enough for Nigeria, according to the minister, that we are able to carry the voice of Nigeria, to represent Nigeria's pride, beauty, and all that we stand for on the global stage. Francisca Oga, Adbn News.
Nigerians on social media are divided over calls to boycott South African singer Tyler's upcoming concert in Lagos following renewed concerns over xenophobic attacks on Nigerians in South Africa. The Grammy-winning singer recently announced that her A-Pop World Tour will stop in Lagos on December 22nd, making Nigeria the only African country outside South Africa on the tour. The announcement triggered mixed reactions online, with some calling for a boycott over Tyler's silence on the xenophobia issue, while others argued that artists should not be blamed for the actions of governments or individuals, saying music should unite Africans despite